I think I wore the exact same outfit yesterday, but fear not, I am wearing a new shirt. It's okay, I'm not a complete pig. Yeah. Today, interesting. Today was good. On the back of my mopey fucking wah, have a cry, have a whinge last couple days. Not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little bit embarrassed about my whinging and bitching. Yeah. But listen, it's like, the thing is, I talk to people about all this sort of shit, and everyone, okay, maybe not, but maybe it's just the people that I talk to, have the same sort of, thoughts and that. So I think one of my experiences that I've learned over the course of the years is that everybody seems to have the same, like, you think you're an island and you think you're alone in this whole thought life or whatever, and you realize, oh no, everybody is the same. Like, everyone has the same frustrations, everyone has the same shit they got to deal with and whatever. So, I think for the last couple of years, I remember when we started propaganda, is that I if I was to start being really critical about my behavior, I'd say, oh well, that's self-sabotage. And so then I've been really intentional, like sorting my head out really, and like learning and just trying to understand, like, why is it that I want to do what I do, like, and have that like alignment and stuff, and when I went on a pretty deep dive into leadership last year, because I was like, yeah, this is something I just don't understand. I don't get it. And not to say that Simon Sinek has got it nailed. I think he's got a lot of value to offer. But certainly understanding of what you're about, I can see that that's the thing that really produces the longevity, And so there, I see value in it. But also, I'm kind of getting to the point, I'm just like, I want to get some fucking runs on the board. Like, and I'm just kind of pretty tired of like psychoanalysing myself, and there's an element of like not wanting to just feel guilty for the shit that I want. Like, but why do I want that? What does it matter in the grand scheme of thing? Insert existentialism and insert all these sort of things, and in the end, I'm just like, you know what? Like, fuck, like, nice house, maybe like a few really fat holidays a year would be nice. And then also I just go, stop bitching. Like, my life is so good. And I just like, not to say like, who am I to want that? I think everyone wants that. But it's just like, man, there's this balance that needs to happen between being content with what I've got while striving for more, And maybe it's the contentment part that I'm lacking. But anyway, a few things came up today, which kind of put me back in place. Yeah, I think the biggest thing around one of the questions I have around like leadership and stuff is finding the balance between like empowerment, autonomy, decentralized decision making, and all that, and like delegation and control, and because you certainly see a lot of, well, maybe not. Because that's the thing when I think around it. When someone's got a lot of control and a really tight grip, it just kind of doesn't happen. Like, people don't necessarily comply. They will comply, but they don't cooperate, Yeah. It's probably just about finding the right people and then empowering those to go and kill it. Anyway, so those are the loose thoughts at the start of the day. Morning started by heading down to the shop because the grinder, one of the grinders started turning to custard, and I knew pretty quickly what needed to happen. Which again, like, I look at that and I'm okay, well, that's a bit of a bottleneck, because if I wasn't there, then the other guys need to know what to do. But this is the interesting part around like empowerment with open book management and everything that we've been running. Is that, when I caught up with the team about it later, is that they were like, well, how, they were asking me, how can we learn about this? So that was really cool. Already I can kind of see that there's a lot of value, excuse me, a lot of value in this open book management. And then obviously tying like a benefit for them into it. Like, everybody wants a stake in the outcome ultimately, Yeah, so anyway, so after that, had to head out to a freight yard and pick some stuff up, and I saw one of my mates had a delivery there as well, so I grabbed it at the same time, and gave him a bell, and he had come by my place and picking it up. And this is a bloke that I look up to in a lot of ways. I think that he's like his business is a lot bigger than ours. Firstly, but there's a lot that he does, that how he operates, I think, in a lot of ways is really admirable, and certainly something that there's a lot about how he does business that I'd like to emulate. And so anyway, I got chatting with him, and he's like, how's things? Because it's been a while since we caught up. How's things? I was just like, hey, bro, listen, get ready. Just unloaded to him on like the last couple of days, and he's a GA. And he was just like, he's like, hey, Billy, like, what are the traits of the ego? And I was like, judgment. And he's like, right. Comparison. Yeah. I can't remember what the other ones were. And, and he's just like, so your issue is you're measuring against, who you could be. He's like, well, what is it like when he's like, how unfair is it to put someone on a pedestal and then judge yourself in comparison to them? I was like, yeah, it's pretty ordinary. He's like, yeah, okay. So effectively that's what's happening, is you're judging your potential and who you could be and putting that on a pedestal and then measuring yourself against it currently. And I'm like, right. So it's kind of like, it's this fictitious character in my head. It's like, well, who could you be? And I understand that it's a great question, but also it's a bit of a fool's errand, because you kind of like, well, fuck me, I could be anyone. I literally, so, pick the limit. And it's kind of empowering, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe my head's a bit broken or some shit at the moment. Yeah, I don't know, because I see value in it. I mean, ultimately, the thing that kind of came out was I was just like, so what do you do? Like, do you not strive? Do you not? He's like, no, like you need to be present. It's like now is the only thing. Like the future doesn't exist. The past is gone. Now is the only thing that matters. And if you live now and you're present now, then you're able to actually be totally present and totally actualize your potential anyway. And I was like, this is stuff I in theory I know, but I just don't live, or at least not habitually, And I'm like, okay. And again, the whole thing is just surrender. Like, this has been my entire theme for the whole year, is just surrender. Just surrender the outcome, do the thing, do whatever's in front of you diligently, and surrender the outcome. So it was a good reminder. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that, one of the things I I think one of my frustrations on like the last thing is, and I understand that there's this chasm between that, and the thing is as well, like it's ridiculous for me to be going, oh well, my frustration is with this part of the business or with this or whatever, because ultimately it's me. Like, I'm missing a part. You don't think that there's a bloody drive-through coffee shop owner somewhere in the world that's had the issues that I've had, and then they've worked about. Like, no shit, right? That's where I'm just like, yeah. Someone solved them, and what's more, and this is the other thing, probably another part of like being too self-critical, or maybe not being too self-critical, is that I look at, here I am, I've got this tiny ass little bloody coffee shop, and I'm like, there is way bigger business problems that people solve with ease regularly. And I'm going, like, what are you doing? Yeah. And ultimately, like, yeah, so my frustration is ultimately in my lack of skills. Be it leadership skills for sure. Like, there's things around leadership that I, when, and I share my perspectives on leadership, and people go, yeah, like, wow, like that's, yeah, it makes sense. Great. Awesome. And I'm like, cool. Like, all right. And maybe everyone's being nice. I don't know. But, I think there's a big difference between the act of leadership and leading people, and then leadership skills. And how I understand it is like, being a leader and being someone who has capacity for leadership is a longevity part, and that's ultimately character. And then the leadership skills is the communication, persuasion, analysis, strategy, action, Like these parts, that is the stuff that actually, that's the trajectory. So you got longevity and trajectory, right? And it seems to me like everyone focuses on the trajectory part and doesn't really focus on the longevity element. Yeah. Yeah, and ultimately, like, I was talking to another mate of mine the other day, and we're talking about it, and he reckons to us, I was like, like, dude, like, I do this, and I build that, and rah, rah, rah. And he's like, yeah, that's the problem, is you're doing it. Like, you guys don't give a shit. And I'm like, yeah, fair. Because, like, they don't have a stake in it. And not to say that everyone needs a stake in it for whatever. No. But, like, rather than actually involving them in the process, I'm trying to, like, solve it and then tell them how to do it. Like, yeah. So, lots of lessons, but it's good. And I'm glad I've got this area, process, platform, whatever, to process all my thoughts. I mean, every time it's always good to get all my thoughts out. Anyway, last night was meant to be date night, but instead we ended up headed to bed, and Tuesdays all the kids go to school, which means that we have an opportunity to actually have some undivided attention, which is lovely. So we went for a walk out at Car Cooler instead of date night last night. But this is where we got a bit cheeky. Went to Debo's and got a nice juice, and then we spiked it with gin. So we got our juices and our gin, went for a walk up in Car Cooler, and it was lovely. And we got a little bit tipsy because we put a lot of gin in our juices, and it was really, really nice to hang out and just chat and laugh and all that sort of shit. So I say shit a lot. It wasn't shit. It was really lovely. So we saw Luch at Debo's, and I told him, like, he's like, oh, when are you growing your beard back? I was like, I have to get 85 kilos. He's like, my doctor said I need to lose weight too. He's like, I tell you what, race you there. I was like, okay. I was like, what are we betting? He's like, I don't know. I was like, $100? He's like, no. So now it's me, Beck, and Luch racing to hit our weight targets. And the rules is we have to text each other our weight once a week. And I said Sundays is when I'm weighing myself. And he's like, right, we're on. So... yeah, so anyway, came back, and after going for a walk and hanging out and with Beck, came back, and Sue, who I've been speaking with around the open book implementation and systemization of how to actually like do it all, we teed up a meeting for her to have with the team. And so I asked a few guys, I was like, hey, listen, if you guys want to be part of the team that actually come up with the games we want to play and how we're going to measure it. And so the whole concept is you play games to improve the business, right? And ultimately business is a game anyway. The whole thing is you play games to improve the business rather than the business, rather than just using it like analysis and all that sort of stuff. But it's fun. So she caught up and went through the process with them and kind of gave them a bit of a snapshot of understanding how that fits in the broader picture, and then we caught up afterwards and started game planning everything, which is awesome. We're like, okay, like where do you guys want to start? And ultimately, quality was the thing. Was okay, great. We want to dial in the quality. Well, we've got the system we can use that's really measurable. That makes it simple, but we've got a bit of an intangible thing we want to measure. Well, how are we going to do that? And it was really cool, like letting them go through and come up with the process of how they want to actually measure it and track it. And I was like, this is great. And I think as well, like one of the learnings there is that your team is just such an untapped resource. Like, obviously they want to be involved and they see, and they've got the creativity. And I think that, all of us, I think especially anyone in businesses or business owners have probably got propensity to look at things and think, I know what I'm doing, but also the people in your team, they see shit too. And, it was really cool to watch them kind of really hone in on that and come up with some great solutions. One of our girls who's part of our team, and this was really cool, just unprompted, like as we were kind of getting toward the end of the meeting, she said to us, she was like, man, I really wish my previous managers, what did she say? I really wish my previous managers put this much effort into their team. And I was like, like it was so cathartic to hear that. Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. So yeah. And I think as well, like at that point, I kind of realized, like, especially, I was having a bit of a whinge and a bitch the other day. And just like at that moment, I was like, oh my God, like it's so simple. Like people just want to be involved and they want to be part of the process. They don't just want to be like a cog in a wheel. And I feel like for the most part, leadership is about empowerment and empowering the right guys. And and I had this moment where I was just like, I feel like I'm just an ungrateful bitch, you know? Yeah. And again, it goes back to the whole like letting go thing. Just let go of the. And again, it doesn't mean that you don't have goals. It doesn't mean that you don't have like any of that. It just means that you let go of the outcome and you're present and focused on what's happening now. So yeah. Anyway, so then I had a meeting later with Sue just to kind of review what we went over with the team, and and she's been really great. She's such a great resource. They've got so much knowledge and wealth and stuff. And so it was really, really cool to talk with her about, okay, well, this is kind of what we came up with, where the guys are at, what they're going to be doing. So it was cool. And we ended up cutting our meeting short because she was like, listen, like, yeah, you guys are all over it. Sounds good. Let's go. So we're going to be meeting up on Thursday with her to go over, start working out a remuneration plan for the, like a bonus structure, really. Yeah, so it's going to be fun. I was talking with a mate of ours because we're headed over for Kerwin Ray's event in about 10 days. I'm flying over to Brizzy. And I was chatting with him. He's been pretty involved with Kerwin Ray. And I said to him, I was like, oh, we're headed over to Nisi. And he goes, oh, you're kidding? He's like, you got VIP tickets? I was like, nah, don't think so. And he's like, righto. He's like, oh, leave it with me. He messages me a couple of hours later. He's like, hey, brother, I got you in VIP. I was like, oh, you're kidding? How good's that? So legend, eh? Yeah, he's a good man. Yeah, so that was really cool. And yeah, so anyway, after reviewing with Sue, I just prepped up for the team meeting. I'm still trying to work out like a good cadence. One thing I think of is if I have to do it more than once, then I need to put a system in place. And that's been really good. Obviously, like it's given me the structure, at least enough for me to step out of the day-to-day ops. And yeah, so I need to start working on a system for prepping the team meeting. So one of the things we focused on was all the areas of improvement and reviewing the feedback data from customers. Reviewing the feedback data from customers and from the team. Goodness, sorry. And yeah, just kind of prepping all that. And one of the things we wanted to do was dial in a bit of like we covered values last time. We're like, okay, like what are the values that you want to operate by, And so we did an activity which was really great, kind of like digging up the values we want that kind of just lurk below the surface of our least conscious thought. And everyone was pretty similar. Like no one's going to have any like not aspirational values, right? So all the values were pretty cool. Like I was like, yeah, like I subscribe to this for sure. Like, and then we haven't quite finished working through it, but I hit the team with a few questions around like what's the vision that we want to have for our team? Like what do we want to be known for? And started working on that. So like the values are the guidelines that we're going to be operating our team by, and the vision is where we want to actually get to, like what do we want to be known for and stuff. So dialing in on that, yeah, that was the whole thing about the team meeting. So yeah, so anyway, shot down and did that, which was great. I still definitely need to get better at hosting meetings, and I find like a lot of the time the team will just be there and they will be like I'm very conscious of time. Like I don't want to, I'm aware that people are coming to us. They're making time out of their day to come to us. And and be part of the meeting. And it's, for some people it's an inconvenient time. Gosh. And others it's not, but nonetheless, I've said half-hour meeting once a week. Everybody gets together, and I want to be respectful of that, So so what I find is that I'm having to try, especially at the moment, this will probably change as time goes on, but I'm really having to take a lot of information and condense it. And so I feel like it's very information heavy and it's not very engaging. The opposite side of that, though, is that the team are really invested, and and again, I think that this is just highlights the things that need to, sorry, I'm thinking my mind's elsewhere. I was just thinking about a couple of people in our team, positively. Yeah, I think when it comes to this, is like, people want to be valued. Obviously, people want to be part of something that's happening. People want to contribute to building that. People don't want to be stagnant. People want to be dynamic, and I'm looking forward to the future because, like, it's honeymoon period. We're still early in the piece. One thing that Sue said, which I totally get, is that it's simple but not easy. And the not easy part is the consistency part. Like, you have to keep at it. You can't just be like, oh, it's a system, wash your hands of it, great. Like, no, you actually have to give a shit about what you're doing. You have to give a shit about what you're doing. And when I think around leadership, man, fundamentally, transparency, give a shit. Like, if we're going to go absolute core, yeah, I think so. Actually giving a shit about the people you're leading, firstly, and then being transparent about that. I'll come back to that later on because that's influenced by a conversation I had tonight as well. So, yes, the team are really engaged, and even a few people in our team who were like usually not very engaged, now they're very engaged, and yeah, it was really great. So yeah, so we spent a bit of time working on the vision, dialed back a bit of, so we had looked at the finances, which was really cool. And I just said to the guys, like, hey guys, like, I know we've got a few loose ends that we need to tidy up in the business, i.e. like, equipment that needs a little bit of touching up, or like a system or a process that needs finalizing. And I just said, like, show me all the stuff that we need to work on just so we can get the foundation tidied up, and then we can grow from there. And they're like, yeah, sure. So yeah, so anyway, so I met the kids at swimming after that, swimming lessons. Lexi, she's so sweet. She got a little pot plant for Mother's Day, and she planted some seeds, and she is absolutely pumped, so pumped that they're sprouting, and it's so cool. I love seeing the little passion. Just the nature of our Tuesdays are pretty gnarly, so we just have smoothies for dinner, and the kids froth it, which is so easy. Love that. Squash, the kids play squash, so went and did that, which is awesome. We came home and the chaos started. Goodness me. There are a few hard conversations to have. Last night, god damn, I opened the bathroom door to find we've just renovated this bathroom, right? Open up the door and I find Tilly standing on the edge of the bath and full bombs, just full bomby. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, Lexi's got out of the bath and Eliza's sitting in the bath, and Tilly just full bombies, and water is genuinely everywhere. It's madness. Like, kids are just untapped, boy. Like, it is just incredible, eh? And I just had to take a big breath, hold my face, woosah a lot. And I said to Becca, I was like, what do you want to do? And she was just like, for the next week, they can shower outside. I was like, I love that. Tonight was their first night showering outside. Tilly's like, Dad, I want some warm water. Nope. It's like, babe, we tell you all the time, stop splashing so much water everywhere. And you literally, like, it's so disrespectful. So, got the hose, chucked the shower head on. Her and Eliza are outside. And so tonight was their first night. All right, darling. There's your soap. Under you get. No, Dad. Sorry, baby. I really, really hope you don't make this mistake again. No, Dad. Yeah. Blue. That was so funny. Not the showering outside thing, the bath thing. I was just like, how? Like, how? What is happening right now? Oh, kids, man. Carnage. Anyway, mate of ours, Sam, he's boily. And there were a few little bits that I've had to try and get amended and made a handful of times, and I just don't seem to ever get it right. So I was like, you know what, bugger this. I know a boily. Shot out to him. Shot out to his place after he knocked off today. Bloody legend. I just said to him, I was like, mate, listen, here's the angle. We're going to cut this and do that and move this and rah, rah, rah. These are little tiny pipes for some of the gear we got at the shop. And we got talking. He works for Mineral Resources. And it was really cool. Like he's pretty business savvy, and it's always good conversation with him, eh? And so I was just talking with him around, like obviously the topic of leadership came up, and he was talking about Chris Ellison. And the thing that I noticed about what he said was he was like, our project, talking as in the company, our CFO, our this, our that, and I was like, wow, like. Talk about someone who has nailed the art of leadership. I mean, I think Sam's met Chris Ellison a handful of times. I'm assuming he probably just count on one hand how many times, right? And for him to have that level of he speaks incredibly highly of that level of regard for, firstly, someone who leads a corporate organization, like a massive corporate mining company, and then someone who he's only met a handful of times. Otherwise, it's literally just like, employee feedback, like engagement forms and, press releases and, public announcements and stuff. And I'm just like Chris Ellison has nailed it. He's, say all you want, but man, talk about looking after his guys. Jesus, he looks after his guys well. It's crazy. It's crazy. So lots to learn. Yeah, lots to learn. Anyway, so the theme of today was, I've got shitloads to learn still. I still think what I was saying yesterday around taking action. I learn a lot, but just do more. Just do. Just fucking make shit happen, which I feel like I'm already pretty good at, but I definitely could be better. Maybe that's self-criticism. Fuck knows. Who knows? Anyway, Darty gang. That's me for today.